All right, Illuminators, bring it in because it's conspiracy theory time. All right, now Ravensburger, we all started calling Ravensburger's known as RB, right? And then we all started calling Ruby Sapphire RB. And meanwhile, RB is getting, well, best deck in the format again. Conspiracy? Is it a theory? It might be fact, but what's going on, Illumineers? Welcome back to the Madhouse, and it is a madhouse. I was speechless a lot today. I wanted to cry. I wanted to laugh. I didn't know how to feel, but you guys will see it in the reveals if you have not seen it already. But before we get going, again, just want to remind everyone the giveaway is going on. All right, join in there. We got lots of people throwing their names in there, but it's more than just one item, and this is for all of you guys for showing support to me. So I want to make sure as many people as possible can get in there and enjoy the free product. We also, if you're in the Smyrna, Delaware area, we have the 1K going on that Safari Zone Collectibles is putting on that I'm hoping host, and I'll be commentating. And then of course, again, shout out to Mushu Report for making all these cards readily available to us when they are revealed. But ladies and gentlemen, let's not hold it back any longer. Let's talk about card reveals, and we'll start with the big blue meanie. Sapphire Coil, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 2-cost inkable item and Brilliant Shine. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may give chosen character -2 attack this turn. Uh, I'm gonna cry on stream. Ladies and gentlemen, there are people that think this is not all of that. And there's this idea that for Ruby Sapphire to play this card, it throws off their curve. Ice Block you can play on turn one, and then you can ramp, and then you can do a Hand Sizu or a Brawl or things like that. I'm here to tell you that sure, that's very true. There is a curve that Ruby Sapphire likes to see, but when you see phenomenal cards like this that are a better version of Ice Block in almost every single way. It's an item still that lets you work off of Flaversham. It is an item that gives -2 attack. So now Medusa is very liable to come back in if they really wanted to. Or even better, now they can just run and go crazy with big Sizus because now they can just give -2 attack to things. All of a sudden, things like Lawrence are easily beaten with a big Sizu. It's like the 4 attack characters don't mean anything anymore. This card is worth throwing your curve off, and in every way, it is an inkable card. One of the biggest challenges and one of the best ways to beat Ruby Sapphire was hoping that they bricked. And now one of the biggest weaknesses, maybe the only weakness to Ice Sizu on Ice, the Sailor concoction, is gone. They lose the uninkables from ice blocks, and now they can run this if they wanted. They can bring in Madame Medusa when they don't even need to. Remember that Gantu and that Pete? They were so exciting because it shuts down Be Prepareds and it shuts down Brawls potentially, and because Brawl can't be played till turn 5 now. Well, now it doesn't even matter because they can play this on 2, and then they can just big Sizu your board away. And your Gantu can't do anything to stop it. Your Pete can't do anything to stop it. Heck, I don't even need to run B preps. I can just run big Sizu and baby Sizu, and I can clear practically anything with those 2 cards. And it's disgusting. It is worth it, things might change, right? We still do not have all the cards. We don't know what's come out yet, and we still might see some craziness, all right? Maybe we have faith in Ravensburger that Ruby Sapphire won't be the best deck in the format again. But this card, it's insane. It's a 5. If you haven't figured that out yet, this is a 5. In my book, it is an auto include. I don't see why it wouldn't be. I think this card is very much worth throwing off your curve in every single way because it is just so powerful, and it leaves us in a world where purple steel might be the only playable deck next set, because it might be the only deck that can go toe to toe with red blue. Maybe red purple is still a deck that does well, but it's gonna be a crazy time. But let's not forget, this card can also be used in green blue or Baja Blast. So this is really strong in Baja Blast as well. And we all know how much everyone loves that deck, because there's nothing more fun than getting a bend to my will and you losing your entire hand after they've played a Clarabelle and they've drawn their entire hand, and then they play bend to my will and you lose your whole hand. And that's tons of fun for everybody. We all love that. But it's okay. It's fine, because it's hard because Baja Blast doesn't have great board removal. But in comes Sapphire Coil. And now Sapphire Coil allows them to run this beautiful thing called Under the Sea, and all of a sudden they have all of the board removal they need. And it doesn't even go to your discard, which is a wonderful thing, because now you lose that opportunity to discard things. Like maybe you bring Lilo back if you were Amber, but you can't do that anymore. Maybe it matters if your card is banished, like a Cusco would draw you a card, but now you don't even get that opportunity because it goes to the bottom of your deck. Your Baloo Bodyguard doesn't trigger its 2 lore because it doesn't get banished. It goes to the bottom of your deck. This Sapphire Coil is really good in that deck as well, because who doesn't love Under the Sea? Who doesn't love a deck that can refill its hand with a Clarabelle, discard your entire hand with a Bend to My Will, and then also just have massive board removal? And another great item for the deck to trigger Flaversham if they decided to run that. So Baja Blast gets huge bonuses, and then Red Blue gets huge bonuses. The other decks, I don't think they run this. I don't really see a reason for the other blue decks to run this. Maybe there's a Blurple world where they decide to go Flaversham because this is a good card, but Blurple can't use this for anything. They don't care about giving something -2 lore, so I don't see them using this by any means. So, and then Blue Yellow doesn't use this either. But so Baja Blast and Red Blue, massive, massive, massive card for them. It is a 5 all the way. I mentioned Tamatoa might be the best card of the set. I don't know. This uncommon might be the best card of the set going forward. This is massive, but this is fine. But our next card, just kidding. We have memes, because who doesn't love some memes? I had to pull up some of these because I thought they were great. Eugene Flores with this really awesome one, because who doesn't love seeing Red Blue at our set champs live feed from the future set champs? We got the Spider-Mans here. I don't know who made this one, but it is from Star Wars, right? So to bring up happy memories. We're finally safe from Ice Block CZ, right? Set 7 gave us a lot of characters with 4 strength characters, and then of course we see Sapphire Coil about to, well, do what happens in the movie there. And next up we have Lorcana Villain with this wonderful creation, and we see Sailor here. For those of you that don't keep up with the competitive scene, Sailor is the mastermind behind Red Blue. He is the mastermind behind Sizu on Ice, and he's been on Red Blue for the longest time, and kind of that OG figurehead behind Red Blue. So he's probably living pretty happy right now seeing Sapphire Coil. And then, of course, Artibax coming in here with always top tier content. If you guys have not seen his shorts on card reveals, you have to go and watch them. Look at his podcast, his YouTube channel, because they're hilarious. They're great. They're how we all feel. But Lorcana Sailor, I want you to admit that you are one of the card designers from Ravensburger. We just love it. But let's move on with the actual card reveals, because that's what we're all here for. And we'll put this card in the past. And moving on, we have Gizmoduck. He is a 4-cost inkable 4/3/1 green steel dual ink with resist +1 and blathering Blatherskite. This character can challenge ready damaged characters. I'm still waiting. we have the Robin Hood, right? There's a Robin Hood that you can exert the Robin Hood to deal one damage to something. So there is that. I'm still waiting for more green steel stuff to be able to do damage, to ping something. We saw the Queen of Hearts in green red that puts a damage counter onto everything as it's played. But then they print this Duel Link card in green steel that you can't play with green red Queen of Hearts. So I'm still waiting for something like there's got to be something coming for this to work. And right now there's just not. It's just a 4-3-1 that costs 4 and I don't know why you play that. Now, you just you just don't leave hanging damage on characters. Like that's just the way it is. That's not something you do because it was kind of drilled into our heads to never do that because of Rapunzel. And sure, you're not worried about Rapunzel in a blue green deck, right? Because they're not yellow. But it's just something, it's just drilled into our heads. Do not leave open damage on characters. And unless Green Steel sees something that is dealing damage easily and well, this card's just not going to see play. The Robin Hood is not enough on its own to make it see play. We've seen some people, Habibi, he recently ran a Robin Hood deck that was doing ping damage and stuff. So we've seen it out there, but even then he was running that deck mostly for memes. So we just need to see more ways to ping damage to things, a lot like the Queen of Hearts Dual Ink that we looked at yesterday. So in the meantime, Gizmoduck is a 2 for me. It just doesn't do it. We need to be able to get this ability off better. Now, if we see something in the future that does ping damage like the Queen of Hearts or does it more readily, then this could go up. But for now, it's a 2, and it's unfortunate. I love this artwork here. But moving on, we have Restoring the Crown. This is a 6 cost uninkable action. It is a purple steel dual ink. Exert all opposing characters. Whenever one of your characters banishes another character in a challenge this turn, gain 2 lore. Phenomenal artwork. I could see this being an enchanted for sure. But as far as the card goes, great opportunity, a really great way to break parity. Unfortunately, it's uninkable. Unfortunately, it costs 6. And unfortunately, purple's kind of turning into that deck that's not doing a lot of challenging either. When you're running purple steel, you don't need to necessarily do a lot of challenging because you have things like Zeus possibly or Strength of a Raging Fire, and your challenging comes from the fox and the crab. You're not normally using all of your characters to do a bunch of challenging. Now, you could run this and if you ran it as a one of, I don't think you'd be wrong by any stretch of the imagination. But if you're playing purple steel, you don't have a lot of massive card draw. You're either running a dock version or a rabbit version. And you could run both. It happens. But even then, rabbit is drawing you one card at a time. So imagine you play a rabbit really needing something to play. You need a goat, you need all this stuff, and you get a Restoring the Crown. If we look at, Melissa, for example, from TFM at the Southside Games 5K, how often did we see her go above or get to 6 ink anyways? Get to a position where she would have been like, you know what, I wish I had the ability to exert all my opponent's characters so I can banish them. Because, the rabbit is really banishing a lot of characters when it has 2 health. And so Diablo's banishing a lot of characters with its 0 attack, or rabbit's 2 attack, sorry. So unfortunately, Restoring the Crown is another 2 for me. I just don't see it seeing play. You can't even bounce characters and play this. Purple Steel's never getting to 10 ink, like ever. We saw Jose get to 10 ink in the 10K, but that against Red Blue. So even against Red Blue, that probably wouldn't have been super helpful. And that was all for a very specific reason, to start doing goat bounce stuff. So I don't see this ever seeing play, unfortunately. As great as it looks, and the foil is going to be phenomenal, it's unfortunately a 2 for me. It's just too expensive and too uninkable, but it's too cute. And we all know how I feel about using that word to describe a card. So moving on, we have the Beagle Boys, small time crooks. It is a 3-3-2 4 cost inkable ruby sapphire dual ink, and hurry it up. Whenever this character quests, chosen character of yours gains rush and resist +1 this turn. So this could be cool. This is a super 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 incredibly greedy card is how I look at this card. And why I say that is you could play this and get it down, and then your Maui half shark now has rush, and that's really cool. But if you run this, that means you're most likely cutting Grandma Tala. And if you cut Grandma Tala, that means you're losing card draw. And if you're losing card draw in red blue, that doesn't feel super good either. Like that's sure you're running Flaversham, but again, if you're playing Flaversham, like if you had to choose between this or Flaversham, the answer is probably always going to be Flaversham. And if you play this on turn, 3 or 4, and then you go into a Maui Half Shark, what kind of actions are you really trying to bring back at this point? Hopefully a Visions. Hopefully, there is Sail. You could bring back Sail if you wanted to ramp some more. But I just see this card being too greedy. You'd rather run Grandma Tala, I think, in every single situation that you're playing red blue. I don't see it right now. So I'm gonna give Beagle Boys a 2, I think. I just don't see where this is ran. I think it's just too greedy of a card where yeah, I don't know. Maybe, but I think I'm okay with a 2. Right now, like I said, I think it's just too greedy of a card. But moving on, we do have a Lady Tremaine coming in. This is a 6 cost uninkable 3/3/2, and that's quite enough. You tap Lady Tremaine and return chosen damaged character to their player's hand. Then each opponent discards a card at random. Again, a green card with damaged characters. And again, I need to see green get a reliable way to be putting chip damage and damage counters on the opponent's cards. Now, it can be your characters. I will give it that. Return chosen damaged character to their player's hand. Then each opponent discards a card at random. So, you could damage one of your own characters. Now, that is easier. Maybe not easier, but yeah, you could do something like that. But the problem is Lady Tremaine also quests for 2, and now you're exerting her to make your opponent discard a card, and that doesn't really feel good, especially when you could quest for 2. We could throw in there that she could be hit by Medusa, because why not? People love to point that out. Um, I don't know. Return chosen damaged character to their opponent's hand. Uh, Again, I want to see a reliable way for green to be doing chip damage. This could be ran in green red though, because you do have the Queen of Hearts. Now the Queen of Hearts though is a 5 cost uninkable. So now if you're running Queen of Hearts and you're running Lady Tremaine, you're getting up there in uninkables already at this point. So that really hurts, especially because you're running Curse Merfolks, or you probably can't run Curse Merfolks at this point, because if you're running green red, then it's most likely an action deck. So maybe Be King Undisputed. Um, it's discard. It's a bounce mechanic for green, which we don't really see unless they're running purple. It should probably be a 2, but I've been giving a lot of 2s. So I'm going to give it a 3 because the trend has to change somewhere. So why not with Lady Tremaine? The bounce mechanic potential is entertaining. I do like that idea for green to be able to bounce something if it's damaged. Making your opponent discard a card is always a good mechanic. Like, we love making our opponents discard. So, uh, I'll give it a three. Why not? Yeah, we'll give it a three so we can quit appearing like we're in a bad mood because of a certain card. So, moving on, we have Yzma. And Yzma, the exacerbated schemer. She is a 2/2/1, a 2-cost inkable. How shall I do it? When you play this character, you may draw a card, then choose and discard a card. So it's an expensive Simba. Um, Simba, the steel Simba, that's a 1-drop 1/2/1. When you play this character, you may draw a card, then choose and discard a card. So this is a green expensive Simba with a bad stat line. And I don't know if there's any shift Yzmas that needed a green Yzma. I think this is a 1. I don't know why you run this. Maybe there is an Yzma shift card, and if there is, then that would be a reason to run this. But until we see one, I just think this is a 1. I don't see why you. I'd rather run the. I'd rather run most things than a 2/2/1 that is just letting me, do things with my hand that I probably don't need to do most of the time when I'm playing green decks. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I think Yzma's a 1. It's unfortunate. I love the Yzma character. I think we're gonna see a lot from this storyline as far as Emperor's New Groove goes, but I just don't think this one is going to be the one that makes the meta game. So unfortunately, a 1 for Yzma. And moving on, we have a HeiHei. This is a 1-cost 2/2/1 vanilla HeiHei. And why can we? I just want a HeiHei that just breaks the bank. All right, we all want it. We're all asking for it. We all want to see a meta defining HeiHei. Like, he deserves it. Maybe we don't. We just have a whole bunch of Illumineers screaming the chicken sound. Right? But a 2/2/1 again. HeiHei's not a card you see play, so I don't know if there's a shift target. I know there's the 4/5 bodyguard HeiHei. That one rings a bell because that was a really good sealed card or draft card, but it's an ally, so there's that. It's not a bad stat line for a turn 1. I think 2/2 is a fine stat line. I'm happy with my Robin Hoods and my Queens and Steel Song being 2/2s. A 1/4 that quests for 2 is much better, but I'm I'm gonna give HeiHei a 3. I can't give HeiHei less than a 3 because one day he's going to have it, and if they get it, then this is a great shift target. It's a 1-cost 2/2. It cancels Flynn. It can trade into things. I'm going to give HeiHei a 3 for possibility reasons. And maybe I'm forgetting a shift target. So moving on, we have Dawson. And Dawson is a 1-cost uninkable, a 1/2/1, and be sensible. Once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, look at the top card of your deck. You may put it on either the top or the bottom of your deck. And he is an ally and a detective. So this is really intriguing. But unfortunately, even though he's intriguing, I think it's unplayable. And the reason being that it is uninkable. And uninkable, there's so many other things that red blue and blue steel would rather be doing with their turn 1. No wheel lists really like Chicha, so that's an uninkable that they're already keeping in their hand most of the time. So I just think an uninkable, this needed to be a 2/1 for it to see play. And the reason I say that is because it shuts down Flynn as a 2/1. It can trade into things as a 2/1. At this point, the only thing Dawson's trading into is a Cursed Merfolk, a Chernobog's Followers, but then you lose Dawson anyways. His effect is really cool. Like, Scry is a really good effect. Look at the top card of your deck. Do I need this or do I not? How many times have you sat there and you've said the heart of the cards and rubbed the top of your deck and said, I need an inkable, and it's an uninkable? And this could prevent that. But it is an uninkable to do so. So it's a card that is only going to be good on turn one, and it's uninkable. So you have to keep it in your hand, and it doesn't trade in anything. So you better hope that they don't have anything, or they go crazy turn one. You better hope that whatever you see off the top of the deck is really important or just really unimportant, and you want it gone. So I think Dawson. Maybe there's combo decks that really want this. His effect is good. I'm I'm gonna give him a three, an extremely very very low three. He could be a 2.5, but we'll say three because we've been doing whole numbers. Because people I think will try him. I think they'll be met with disappointment, but he could maybe. Why not, right? Why not maybe? So we'll give him a three and we'll move on. And moving on, we have a coil. So this should be really good, right? Right? It is a three cost uninkable item. Shimmering wings. Keep it together. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, chosen character gains evasive until the start of your next turn. First off, why is this the uninkable one? What? It gives your characters evasive. Yes. Okay. No. If just no. If just no. I don't know why you would care so much to give your characters evasive. Maybe your cursed merfolk is still alive at this point, and you play this. You put a card in your inkwell. So you play this on turn 3, and then on turn 4, you can put a card in your inkwell to give your cursed merfolk evasive. Somehow it lived to turn 4, anyways. So that's pretty crazy. If it lived to turn 4, you probably won already. You could give something evasive to trade into Genie, so there's that. A fox if you're playing green purple, so you could give your fox evasive. That's something you could trade into a Genie, and you live to tell about it. But I think if you're gonna run an item that costs this much, you'd just rather run the Chromicon that returns characters to the player's hand. That sounds better to me. I don't know. I don't see this ever seeing play. It's a 1 for me. I don't know why you'd care so much about giving a character evasive. You could also give your opponent's character evasive. Uh I don't know why, but you can. Maybe there's a card that will come out that banishes all evasive characters. Then maybe it's pretty good. But right now, I just don't see it. I think, unfortunately, this coil is going to be a 1. Moving on, we have another coil. We have Amethyst Coil. It is an item. It is a 3 cost uninkable. You can't make this up. Magical Touch. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So this is a little bit better. We're seeing a lot of damage counter cards in the Amethyst line. A lot of ways to move damage and deal damage or damage counters and move it to another character. And we already have Belle, and then we have the 4 cost one that you deal 2 damage and move 2 damage, I believe. So we're seeing a lot of different things in Amethyst that will help you with damage counters. So the combo might really be alive. And then you have this item that whenever you ink something, you do it again. So maybe in Blurple, and when you can ink 2 cards in a turn, you can move 2 damage counters. So now you can banish a Calhoun. So that's something. Now, with that being and we have lots of ways to damage our own characters or damage the opponent's characters. This could see play. I'm gonna give this I'm gonna give this a 2. It could see I'll give it a 3. I'm going to give it a very extremely optimistic 3. Not because it could see any play right now. Like, if this was a card right now, it would see 0 play. It would be a 1. I'm giving it a 3 because we see that Ravensburger is trying to put all of these damage counter things together, and this is a card that can really help that, being an item that just does it every single turn, sometimes twice a turn if you sail or tipo, things like that. So I'm going to give this a 3 for the optimistic opportunity of these move damage counter things being a real thing. Moving on, we have Moana. She is a 4/3/1 4-cost inkable. She is evasive. All right. And she's an adventurous spirit. Whenever this character challenges another chosen character of yours gets +3 attack this turn. She is a hero and a princess, so that is works with Queen's Sensor Core. So that's something. She's evasive, so she is a genie answer. So that's something. We do have the Moana shift line that lets you move all of your character. I believe it's move all characters to a location for free, and then you gain 1 or 2 lore for each character moved. So that is a really good card. They needed a really good shift target, and I think the ability to challenge genies makes this a good shift target. A 4 attack is pretty good, and then a chosen character of yours gets +3 attack this turn. So we already know that Red Steel is a deck, Ruby Steel is a deck that is going to pop off next set. So this could fit into that. Maybe you fit this into a Ruby Steel locations deck with the big Moana. Maybe you fit this into a red yellow location deck with the Erasers. And we saw things like the Shift Calhoun. And so that's a possibility. So I'm going to give Moana a 3. If again 3.5, this is a higher 3 in my opinion. I think that what she enables is pretty good, and this the ability to challenge genie is a really good thing as well. So yeah, I'm very happy with a, a minimum of a high 3 on Moana. I like this card a lot. So moving on, we have Elsa. Look at that artwork. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian McDonald, good job. Elsa Icemaker is a 5/5/2 with 7 cost uninkable. She is a shift 4. I love me some shift targets, and whenever this character quests, you may exert chosen character. If you do, and you have a character named Anna in play, the chosen character can't ready at the start of their next turn. Okay, let's see. Oh, why does it have to be uninkable? Man, the only deck that can get an inkable card seems to be red blue. This Elsa being uninkable feels really bad. And then to top it off, now you need a character named Anna in play when we just don't have good Annas. Blurple last set, we did play around with the 2-cost Anna that would let you quest for 2 if you had a hero in play. And that was fun. That caught a lot of people out by surprise, questing for 2 so early. But we realized that card wasn't any good. And then the Shift Anna is also uninkable, I'm pretty sure. The one that exerts all your opponent's characters. So now if you're running that and this, you have a whole bunch of uninkables. Because if you're all at that point, you're either running the other big Elsa or Hades. That's even more uninkables. And then if you're running rabbits, you have more uninkables. If you run genies, you might as well say no at that point. It's uninkable. Because it's uninkable, I think this card is unfortunately unplayable. And yeah, it's an expensive 5/5 shift 4. Its effect requires you to have another bad card in play. Maybe we'll see a good Anna revealed still. Again, we still have lots of cards to show, but it's uninkable. If you It's uninkable. The only time its effect will matter is when it quests, so you have to shift it for it to be a card that does something when it comes down. I think, is it a 1? Can I really say Elsa is a 1? I think I can. I think I have to. The fact that it is so expensive, being 7 cost, the fact that it does nothing when it comes onto the board unless you shift it. Like, that feels really bad. And when it does come on the board, if it is shifted, then you need to have Anna in play. Now, you get to exert a chosen character no matter what, and that's fine. And it is May, so that is really good as well. But you have to have Anna down for it to stay exerted. So, yeah, I just nope, it doesn't do it for me. Unfortunately, Elsa's a 1. Moving on. We've got company. Ready all your characters. They gain reckless this turn. So this is kind of interesting because what you could do is you could quest with your entire board, right? You could be playing Ruby Steel, you could quest with your whole board, and then you say, we've got company. And now they can all quest. Now they can all, you know, bang. And then if they're Calhoun's, if they're Robin Hoods, if they're Maui Half Sharks, if you have a Mushu on board, you can now challenge everything because it's reckless. You can challenge them in whatever order you want. All right. So if you have a Mushu down, a whole bunch of other characters, don't be like, okay, I'm going to quest or challenge my Mushu. No, challenge with everything else first. Let them go. Let them do their thing. Unless you just really have to challenge with the Mushu first. And if you do, just make sure it doesn't get banished. So I think this is a pretty neat card. I think Ruby Steel, though, is running tight on Uninkables. And does it need this card is the question. The potential to gain 3 lore from a Calhoun or 4 lore from a Robin Hood is sexy. It's very, very, very sexy. I'm gonna give this a 3. Well, it's a minimum of a 3. It is uninkable, but I'm going to give it a 3 because it can just create massive swing turns where you quest and you get to attack with things. And honestly, if you quest with everything and then you give it all reckless this turn, it just readies your characters. And then if your opponent doesn't have anything to attack into, then you've just readied all your characters. So you got to quest for free anyways. So I think this is a 3. I'm happy with this card. I think this will see play for sure. Moving on, we have Out of Order. It is in 7 cost inkable action. Banish chosen character. It's a 1. Nope, I don't think there's any argument there. It is a 7 cost inkable to banish one character, and it's an action card. Robin Hood doesn't even work with this because Robin Hood is only up to 6, I think. Or is it just any action? I'm not sure, but yeah, it might only be 5. Anyways, no, it's definitely at least 6 because you can do Pirate's Life with it. But no, anyways, this card, it's a 1 for me. I would rather play the 7 cost uninkable that banishes chosen character and draws you a card, whatever that is, and that tells you how much play that saw. But no, just no, disgusting. Uh, no, that's yeah. I'm sorry. I just don't see a world where you care. To spend an entire turn to banish one character, that better be one heck of a character. It needs to be a Maui half shark, and that's just about it. No, just no. I think you just run Dragonfire, the uninkable 5 cost that banishes chosen character. Yes, it's uninkable, but it comes down when you actually need it. When they can play Maui Half Shark, when they can play Cinderella, not 2 turns later when you've already lost the game. So unfortunately, Out of Order is a 1 for me. Moving on, we have Grandmother Fa, the spirited elder. She is a 1/1/2 with a lucky cricket, 2 cost inkable, and I have all the luck we will need. Whenever this character quests, you may choose one of your characters to gain 2 attack for the rest of your turn. Rest of the turn, to be more specific. Um, it's a 1 because you know what I'd rather play instead of this? in every single line of red, Lumiere. And Lumiere's only giving one, but Lumiere gives one always, not just when you challenge. So Lumiere is, yeah, just better in every single way. And if, okay, maybe, well, this is, Lumiere's only 4 cards. True, that is true, but still, there's other things I would just rather do with my turn too. I would rather skip it than put a 1/1 in my deck that quests for 2 and will always get banished, all to give a character +2 attack. Yeah, it's only one character. So just unfortunately, Grandmother Fa with this great artwork is unfortunately a 1 for me. Moving on, we have Isabela Madrigal. In the moment, she's a 3/3/4 5-cost inkable. She's an ally and a Madrigal, and I don't want to be perfect. Whenever one of your characters sings a song, this character cannot be challenged until the start of your next turn. So there was some confusion with this card early on, and I'm hoping the confusion was that character can't be challenged or this character can't be challenged. And it looks, according to Mushi Report, it is this character can't be challenged. And that's very disheartening for me. I was really hoping it was that character. But with that being said, this also isn't the end of the world for this card. Because now if you have this down, you can, I mean, you could still sing with this card, right? It is a 5-cost singer, singer 5, right? Because it is cost 5. So you could still sing with this and it cannot be challenged. Or you could quest with this, and if as long as any of your characters sing a song, this character cannot be challenged. The problem is it does not have ward. If it had ward, I would be extremely happy with this card, but it does not. It does not have ward, which means that you can't challenge into it, but you can easily just blast it. And the problem is, one of the things that made Gantu so good, Gantu, not popular, but it's a 4/3/4 5-cost inkable, is that it can't be Medusa. It was hard to brawl because they had to have ice block and brawl to deal with Gantu. This card, unfortunately, can still be Medusa. They only need an ice block in brawl, whereas Gantu needed 2 ice blocks in brawl. In my opinion, this character, sure, it can't be challenged, but you better hope you're playing green-purple. Like, other than that, every other deck can easily answer this card before it ever gets to quest, and you're losing an uninkable slot for it. I'm going to give it a 2. And the only reason I'm giving it a 2 and not a 1 is because my buddy thinks that this is a good closer for Steel Song. I don't see it yet. I would love to be proven wrong because I want to see a really good Steel Song card, and I love all of these little lore counters down here questing for 4. But right now I'd rather just run Gantu and be fine if they want to challenge into Gantu, because most things will get banished. It's an even trade. So for now, I'm giving it a 2. This is only for you, and you know who you are. So yeah, it's unfortunately just a 2 for now, and it should be a 1. But moving on, we have Kida, and Kida is a hero and princess. She is a 3/3/1 4-cost inkable. She has ward, so that is exciting. Key to the mystery. Exert Kida and look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put one in your inkwell face down and exerted, and the other on top of your deck. It's like a bad How Far I'll Go. And How Far I'll Go is the 4-cost inkable action, and I believe it is draw 2 cards, put one in your inkwell and one in your hand. I'm pretty sure it says put it in your hand. So this puts one in your inkwell, which is nice. That is good. But it puts it on top of your deck. And what if you don't want it? Like, what if it's just a really bad card? like come on. Again, this is in the 4 cost slot. So if you're running this card, then that most likely means you're not running Grandma Tala now. And if you're playing into a red blue mirror, congratulations, you got a 3/3/1 with Ward, but they get to play a 3/3 that draws them a card, and they can do something with that card. And meanwhile, it still trades into Kida. So that's something. I just think Grandma Tala is still the better card in every way. Now let's look at Baja Blast. Well, on turn for 4 cost cards, they'd rather play Muses almost every day of the week. You could play this and ramp even faster, so there's that. But I don't know if you need to. Blue Steel on turn 4, like their 4 cost slots are, well, going into turn 4, they're already going into their turn 5. If they T-Poed on 2 and then Fishboned on 3, they're now playing a 6 cost is mathing. 1 ink, 2 ink, T-Po, and then they ink again and Fishbone in the same turn. So that's 5 ink, and then they go to 6 ink. So they could be playing 6 drops at this point. There's so many other things they would rather do. Now sure, I will give Kida a 3. I'll give her a 3. She has Ward. Ward is sexy. She is inkable, so there's that. Oh. Oh, wait a second. This isn't on play. You have to exert Kida to use her effect. Yeah. Kida's a 2. Barely a 2. I think Kida might be a 1. The Kita's a 1 for me. Yeah, the fact that you have to exert Kida to use her effect. So now you're using your turn. You spent your turn 2 to ramp, and then normally when you use your turn 2 to ramp, you're going to a strong turn 4, but no, instead you play a Kida that does nothing for you. She can't challenge, so now your only option is to ramp, and you better be ramping into something really good because Kida can't challenge into the opponent's board because you don't get to use her effect because you have to exert her. So Kita's a 1 for me. Unfortunately, she's a 1 for me. That that feels bad that it's not on play. I missed that symbol there, but yeah, Kita's a 1, unfortunately. Moving on, we have Donald, and I have to pick this up. This is already 47 minutes. So Donald is the lovely pirate. It's a 1/1/2, 2 cost uninkable, and an action duck. Whenever this character is challenged, you may return an action card that isn't a song from your discard to your hand. He's a hero and a pirate. This is the most aggravating thing in the world because this is what I want to see in Steel Song more than anything in the world, is a way to bring actions back from, well, I wanted to bring songs back, so never mind, ignore that. 2 cost uninkable, 1/1/2. You can bring an action back. The only action that I can see being worth it is if you're running a green purple deck. There's lots of actions you'd like to see come back. Um, or if you're running a green purple aggro deck, maybe you bring back Gathering Knowledge, Bosses on a Roll. The new maneuvers card could be something. I'm gonna give Donald Duck a 2 to match his uninkable 2 up here. The fact of the matter, he's still a 1/1 and he's a 2. And whenever this character is challenged, look how often Fred is played. Fred gets you 2 lore as long as he's challenged, but so he gets 3 lore essentially. But even then, we didn't see Fred ever see play because it's just too easy to remove cards with Fire the Cannons and let the Storm Rage on and things like that. So Donald, unfortunately, is a 2 for me. I just don't think you'll see a lot of play anywhere. But moving on, we have Prince Phil. I think I forgot to put his English name because I knew what the rest of it was. It is Prince Philip. Anyways, 2 cost uninkable, 0/5/1. He is a guardian. I think he's Prince Philip, but he is a hero and a prince, and it's a 0/5 bodyguard. You can play it on 2. It is 2 costs, so you have a 0/5 that protects your piglets if you're running a hyper aggro deck. This will never see play in Steel Song. It's uninkable. I don't think it ever sees play in green or hyper aggro decks because it's uninkable and their uninkables are already tight enough. I think this is a one. Unfortunately, we saw bodyguard support with that cat the other day on day one, but it was uninkable and a five drop. So I don't know why they keep giving all of these bodyguards uninkable. But unfortunately, I think this card is going to be a one as well. Moving on, we have Lucky. Lucky is a three drop, uninkable, 1/3/2, and follow my voice. Whenever this character quests, look at the top two cards of your deck. You may reveal any number of puppy character cards and put them in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is any puppy card. It's essentially a draw two most of the time in a puppy deck. This is a three. If we were rating this on just puppy decks alone, this would be a five. Like this is something that puppy decks definitely need is draw power, and this is phenomenal draw power on a body that quests for two. So this is going to be a three for me. I think this is something that puppy decks really needed, and I'm really happy to see this card. Moving on, we have Bagheera, and this is pretty exciting. This is a 4/3/2 5-cost inkable. He has bodyguard, and you must be brave. When this character is banished during an opponent's turn, deal 2 damage to each opposing character. There was a lot of excitement about this card. I even got summoned to pages that they probably didn't want me in, and this is intriguing. This is a grab your swords on a character that quests for 2, and it has bodyguard, and that is sexy. One of the biggest things that Blue Steel suffers from is just losing to aggro decks. The number of times you see a Blue Steel play and they're like, I've got some ramp, I feel good, I played a Smee, I played a Fishbone Quill or a Sail, and look, here's a Tinkerbell. Oh, they got to 20 lore. Like, I didn't even get to do my stuff. So this does give opportunity. The problem is it only deals 2 damage. So what this means is that you have to play this card. They have to banish it to begin with, and you still need to most likely play grab your swords. There's so many 4 health characters now that even this plus Tinkerbell is not enough. So if you don't play this with, like, you can play it, and then the next turn you sing with it to play grab your swords, and then maybe you're playing someone really bad that's like, you know what I need to do this turn? Banish their singer, their card that can sing a card, and oh no, I forgot it deals 2 damage to everything. So you need to hope that the aggro deck is playing a card that does 3 damage, and they like Smee, Lawrence, popular. Well, Lawrence when it could work, but you couldn't cast grab your swords first. So unfortunately, I have to give Bagheera a 3. Without a doubt, it can't go lower than a 3. Its effect is too good. It's a card that feels bad to challenge, but at the same time, it's questing for 2. It can sing Wheel, it can sing Zeus, it can do a lot of things, and it's inkable. So it is definitely a 3. It's a high 3. I could give it a 4. I think it's not yet what we want to see for Blue Steel, and even for Steel Song, I don't think it's something that we're going to see yet either. I just It just doesn't cut the cake for me yet. It's too expensive for its effect not doing anything when you play it. So it's going to be a 3 for me. And moving on, we have Kenai. He is a 1/4/1 3-cost inkable, Challenger 2, and Wisdom of his Story. During your turn, when this character is banished in a challenge, return this character to your hand and gain 1 lore. This is kind of fun. It's a 3/4 challenger, and so they might not want to deal with that, so they banish it, and that is unfortunate because its effect is only during your turn. It is a 3-cost inkable. Um, the recursion, if it had Rush, this is very playable. But now you're playing a card that doesn't get its effect until the next turn. Uh, I think Kenai's a 2, unfortunately. Its effect is cool. Don't get me wrong. Don't knock me. I think his effect is really cool, but it's still only during your turn. It's still only dealing 3 damage, so it still can't answer those 4 health characters. And it doesn't have rush. I just yeah, it that really is annoying that it does not have rush. Now, yeah, yeah, so you can't even bounce it yourself to gain 1 lore. This character needs to be banished in a challenge. So the fact that it has 4 health is also really, really annoying. That is unfortunate because now it's hard to challenge into something and it banishes this character. So unfortunately, Kenai is going to be a 2 for me. Moving on, we have Baloo. So we have a Ruby legendary card. He is a 5/4/2 with Ol Iron Paws. He is a 6 cost uninkable. Fight like a bear. And your characters with 7 or more attack, um, 7 attack or more can't be dealt damage. So another card to shut down singing, other than something like World's Greatest Criminal Mind. But Baloo doesn't protect himself, so that's rather annoying. You'd have to have 2 Lumieres down. Um, ah, it. How many 7 attack characters are there that you're trying to protect? Is there anything other than something like Gaston? There's Maui Half Shark, of course. But I can't think of a whole lot. So what are you trying to protect with this card? Maybe we're going to see something. Maybe we have a 7/1 coming our way soon. But right now, I think that Baloo's a 2. I just don't. Now you can boost things, right? So your characters with 7 or more attack. So if they have Challenger and that pushes them above 7, then there's that. They could not be dealt damage there. We'll give him a 3. I really like the artwork. I think it's going to look really, really good. Like, this is super sexy, so a little bit of bias there. But his effect is really unique as well. And with what we're seeing in all of the Ruby Steel Challenger stuff, it wouldn't be unheard of to get to 7 attack rather easily for most cards. So, yeah, we'll give him a 3. We'll give Baloo an optimistic 3. Moving on, we have Kronk. He is a 5/4/2. Huh. Well, this is unfortunate. Well, ladies and gentlemen, well, I try when I do these reveals, I try to make the cards as that I'm not seeing them as much as I can until I do the video. So sometimes I miss that they're not in English. I can't remember what he does, and I don't remember what that word is. So we'll give him a 3 because it's the why not? The artwork's cool, Krunk's cool, it's green purple, it's 4/4, so he can't be Medusa or Brawled. He quests for 2, all very exciting stuff. He has 2 effects, so that's really cool. Maybe that's bodyguard, protect, right? Like protect. Yeah. We'll give him a 3. Ladies and gentlemen, Kronk is a 3. Please let me know how wrong I might be if he's like a 1. Moving on, though, we have Cybug. He is a 1/2/1, 2 cost inkable hive mind. This character gets +1 attack for each other character you have in play. I really like that storytelling there, right? Because of what the hive bugs do, or the cybugs do. Um, so if you play this on 2, you have 1 other character in play, and then you're going into turn 3, so you have 2 characters in play now. Um, so it becomes a 3/2. It can challenge into Calhoun, so that's something. It can get really big really quickly. Well, is it a 2? Is it a 2? I gave Card Soldier, I think, a 2 or a 1, and this character gets +1 attack for each other character you have in play. What am I doing with turn 2 other than playing this? Playing 1-drops. Mother Gothel is a 2-drop, I believe, because Juliet's is a 3. I'm gonna give this Cybug a 2. I don't know. We revealed a card earlier that I would rather play on turn 2. I believe it was not grandmother, that's for sure. Maybe we didn't. So, yeah, anyways. We'll give yeah, I'm sticking with a 2 for Cybug. Maybe it's just again more early challenging cards, so that's really good for this deck. So maybe it can be a 3, but we'll stick with a 2 for now. And because its condition is a lot, this isn't a condition that's going to bode well for you if you're in a steel meta because they can easily answer it, especially a steel song meta. So we'll go with a 2 for now, but I can very easily see a shift target coming this set for Cybug. I definitely see that coming this set. But moving on, we have Mother Gothel. And look at the artwork on this card, ladies and gentlemen. But Mother Gothel is a 1/4/1 3-cost inkable, a red purple dual ink, and now you've upset me. When one of your characters challenges, you may move one damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. So we have more damage moving stuff. And again, it's moving one damage counter, so it ignores that resist mechanic. I'm gonna I'm gonna give it a 3. And I'm going to give it again for the same reason of the item earlier. I'm giving it a 3 because there has to be something coming that moving all these damage counters is going to be really, really good. Maybe it's like if you move one damage counter, that counts as 2 damage counters. Something cool like that. And this artwork, it's Ian McDonald again. Actually, it's Ian McDonald. Ian, did you do the other really sexy one that looks really realistic? I know I'm all over the place, guys, but yeah, of course he did the Elsa. Ian, you are a wizard, man. Anyways, Mother Gothel, I'm giving a 3. I think there's something coming from moving all these damage counters, and I want to see it. I'm really excited to see it. It's red purple, so you can play it with all this stuff. It'd be really weird if it was like green purple. Like that would be strange, but I like it, and the artwork is just wow. Just wow. So we'll give it a 3. For an artwork, it's like a 10 out of 5. Moving on though, we have excuse me, I'm just going to call him the mole. All right. I'm not even going to try. We have the mole here, ladies and gentlemen. He's a 3/4/1, 3-cost inkable vanilla. Unfortunately, the mole is a 1. It's a 3/4/1 vanilla card. I can think of 1,000 other cards, not literally, okay, but I can think of a lot of other cards that I would rather play on turn 3 than, or even with 3 ink, than this card. Unfortunately, I love the mole character. He's awesome. Uh, you touched the sand, didn't you? You touched the dirt. Anyways, moving on. We have a 1 for the mole. And our last card for today before MVP is Honey Lemon, and she is Sapphire this time. She's a 2/4/1 2-cost inkable. Pretty great, huh? She is whenever you play a Floodborn character, if you used Shift to play them, you may remove up to 2 damage from chosen character. So we saw this on Hiro Hamada yesterday, I believe. He was a green, and whenever you play a Floodborn character, you could draw a card. This one now or whenever you played Floodborn character and shifted, this one is removing up to 2 damage. It's a 2 cost. So the same thing for Hamada. I think this is unfortunately just going to be, I'm going to give it a 2. I mean, you can use it fits in with the Baymax, right? Baymax was a Baja Blast color scheme. So this does fit in there. So you could run this and Hamada, and you can move 2 damage counters. So that's cool. But unfortunately, it's just going to be a 2. It's a 2 cost inkable rating of a 2. Moving on, we have MVP card of the day. And I hate to say it, it burns me up inside. It's really chilly. It's Sapphire Coil. I I cannot give any other card MVP. I almost gave one of the Ian cards MVP. I almost gave Mother Gothel MVP because of the artwork. But I've been like, when it comes to cards, Sapphire Coil is just so good. And I know lots of people are talking about it messes up the curve, but I think Sapphire Coil is just so good that it's worth messing up the curve. It's going to force decks that run character heavy decks to run item removal or just try and out aggro them like nobody's business. Things like green purple, where they're all already below or in brawl range for the most part. So they don't care if you run this card. So there's that. I just think Sapphire Coil is just such a phenomenal card because it helps with Sizu on Ice's uninkable issue. And it's just good. It's just really good. So this is my MVP card of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the video. I tried to have a little bit more fun with some memes and everything. Um, but yeah, I look forward to tomorrow's reveals. This has been fun, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. I'm absolutely loving all of your guys' feedback in the comments of things I might miss or things I didn't think of or talk about or corrections or even just brainstorming with you. It is so cool. So I really appreciate it. And yeah, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, above all else, remember always happy and healthy. That's the goal. I'll see you next time.